Jeanne Beker is woven into the very fabric of the fashion industry and television industry in this country. She is a style icon who has blazed a trail for decades. And this morning, she's opening the doors to her closet and introducing readers to some of her most iconic pieces and the stories behind them. It is storytelling through fashion, a wardrobe of memory, so to speak, with Jeanne herself, modeling the pieces that pair up with important life events and treasured memories. And Jeanne Beker, we are honored to have her in the studio, but really, she should be welcoming me to this place because this whole building is really your home.
This feels like my old home, no question. When we first moved into this building in 1987, I was here from 1987 to 2014.
Yeah. Well, with the new music first, and then you went on to fashion television.
Exactly.
But you're here now for your book. It is called My Heart on My Sleeve, great title. And I love this concept of how you've chosen to tell stories. You're taking elements of your fashion and telling what they mean with a broader context.
I think that our wardrobes are great memory keepers. And I really look at all these garments, pieces of jewelry perhaps, some of them accessories, as almost like signposts of the past. Like they really take you back to a certain time. Now, I am such a pack rat. I have held on to a lot of these things that I became so sentimentally attached to. And I know a lot of people can relate to that because a lot of people do get sentimentally attached to things in their wardrobe. And the fact that I could now, use them as a way into telling some of these stories, these adventures, these incredible encounters that I had with people, I think it really makes sense. Clothes really tell us so much about who we are, not only to others, but to ourselves.
Listen, people who wanted to treat fashion as trivia need to remember that even people who are running for the highest positions in the land think about what they're going to wear before they go out and make an address.
Totally. My dad, my late great dad, always used to say the first thing that people judge you by, what you're wearing, for better or worse. Listen, I know it's all superficial, and at the end of the day, that is not what gives people great style. It's not what we wear, it's how we wear it and how we move through the world. However, first impression, maybe.
We talked about you keeping things. Now, this is something that you don't still have, but you start the book with this satchel. And can I point out that these illustrations were done by your daughter throughout the book?
My daughter, Becky O'Neill, very talented animator, illustrator, and she did all the illustrations. This was a satchel that my parents had brought over with them from the old country when they immigrated here from Austria after the war, after the Holocaust. They were Holocaust survivors. And they had precious little with them when they landed at Pier 21 in Halifax in 1948. But they did have this old satchel that was stuffed with photographs that people had given them post-war, because they both lost their entire families in the Holocaust. But they did meet some people that had, for some reason, had these old pictures of their family members, and they collected them all and they kept them in this satchel. And as a little kid, I remember that was the first accessory that I was fascinated by, this satchel that lived at the back of my mom's closet. And I would open it up and I would see that, wow, I did have grandparents once upon a time. Maybe I never got to meet them, but I did have cousins and aunts and uncles. Maybe I wasn't so different. I was more like other kids. So it just told such a great story about my roots, and I knew I had to start the book that way. Not the most fashionable accessory by a long shot, but it really sets me up. It explains to people, who I am and where I've come from.
It's amazing that this article that we would call an accessory now has really become this historical record of your family. We have so much to talk about in so little time. Can I jump to this conversation with Beyonce? You have interviewed so many celebrities, both for music and for fashion. But you did this sit down with Beyonce in 2006, and she brought one of her favorite photographs. Matthew Rawlinson, he took the photo, which is still hanging in your den.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what stood out to you about that day.
Oh, well, Beyonce's star was just beginning to rise at that point. So it was in the early 2000s, and I was editing a magazine called FQ, a big glossy fashion quarterly, and Beyonce agreed to be on the cover, and it was fabulous. She was so incredibly grounded, professional, kind, caring, and I knew that this woman was really on the path to become a major megastar, which of course she is. I was so impressed with her. That's the best thing about my life. So many of my heroes never let me down. Most of them. I don't think I can think of one person that I've interviewed from the world of music, the world of fashion, certainly, and just all the entertainment reporting I've done over the years. that really let me down. They were all incredible. I honestly tell you, except for maybe Iggy Pop. Yeah. But he was never my hero to begin with. Anyway, that's another story in the book.
Jeanne, there's so many great stories. I would encourage everybody to pick this up. It's not only about milestones in your life, but really a part of Canada as we grew up and we watched you and we read you all those years ago. A real honor to have you here. The book is called Heart on My Sleeve. And on behalf of every girl in rural Canada that shopped at Mariposa because of what you showed us on the runways from Paris, thank you so much, Jeanne.
Thanks so much, love. A pleasure.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.